Solid dude.
Hello everyone and welcome to our first episode of Christ Crusaders. Joining me today is Marcus Marquez.
Alright, thanks for having me here. I'm excited to talk about the Ten Commandments today.
Alright, so Marcus, what's your opinion on living the commandments in the modern world?
One thing, I believe we face a modern problem, one that has been prophesied in the Bible. See, Jeremiah 5 tells us that his people will have a rebellious and revolting nature. They've revolted and they've gone. Meaning they've gone away from Christ's message and path.
They think, I don't want that. They think, I don't want that. I can't keep that.
Exactly. Of course, no one can though. No one can really keep the commandments fully. In fact, we've all broken them at least once. And if you've broken one commandment, you've broken all of them. Now, see, one lie is all it really takes to break all 10 commandments in the first place.
Absolutely.
See, many of us have forgotten how to live these things out and recognize their role in our modern lives today. But in reality, it's never too late to start on the right path. I want to start by saying, in addition to being 10 commandments, they are also a series of prophetic statements that God wants us to live in our lives. See, God isn't just saying that you shall not have other gods before me, but He's saying that you won't have other gods before me because I am the only one who can help you. I am the only one who's actually listening.
The rest are just phony and hollow. It won't be there when you need them.
Exactly. And if forgetting this, we've lost our mission to help others see God's truth. It said many have given into like superstitions like magic and fortunes, finding other mediums to direct our faith in these superstitions that are hollow and have no bounds compared to God, one who always wants the best for us.
Exactly, and it's not just like worshiping idols and false gods. It's being obsessed with possessions and material objects. So much to the point where it overshadows God. God says not to have idols because we know that will only have a personal relationship with Him, with God. Things like wealth, fame, power, and desire are good examples. They're not inherently malicious, but they can become an awful habit or an Achilles heel of sorts to your faith. On that topic, another bad habit we all have is swearing and saying the Lord's name in vain. It says in Exodus 20 and 27, Thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain. Thy God in vain, for the Lord will not help him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
We hear that we also carry this obligation towards, like you say, using His name with respect. But another thing we should also treat something else we should also treat with the same. See, you mentioned the topic of treating His name with respect. But something we also fail to respect is keeping His Sabbath day holy, the Lord's Day, Sunday.
Absolutely.
We're guilty of letting other obligations take this place from us, be it other commitments, or we just don't feel like it. Don't want to go to church on Sunday. It's too much work for us. It's too time consuming. There's a million excuses we can come up with. But that doesn't change the fact that we're only tuning out the one who's always truly listening and letting the fire go cold. Now, notice a pattern here. These first 3 commandments, they're focused on love towards God. See that they're foundational to fixing this lost relationship we have with God that has been sort of diluted by all of our responsibilities, prior commitments, and just everything else happening today. Because it's not truly our fault, but yes, it is still something we failed to do. But with how many things that life throws at us, it's easy to lose sight of what's most important. It's easy to lose faith. But that's why these commandments exist. These commandments exist to help us find that path again, to both love God and love our
The fourth commandment reflects our duties as well as our parents. It's our responsibility to reflect that same honor and reverence we show our parents. But it's also their responsibility to make sure that they take care of us. One isn't just about obedience; it's about gratitude. Our parents aren't perfect, but they're the reason we have the chance to grow in faith.
Exactly. To honor them means to respect those sacrifices that they made for us, including those we just don't see at all. One important thing to remember, if we fail to respect the people who raised us, how can we ever learn to honor God?
Right. Now think about how many times you've ever gotten into an argument with your parents or anyone else for that matter. Have you ever used your words to bring them down, to bring someone else down? What does the fifth commandment teach us? That we need to realize that tearing someone down with words can just break a soul as much as harming them physically.
You see, killing isn't just physical, is it? No, it's Jesus expanded this to any kind of anger, hatred, and just the general way of how we treat people. We should instead protect ourselves, our own, anybody really. Be it emotionally, spiritually, or physically. It's what we're called to do as messengers of Christ. For this one segment, I want to segue into the topic of adultery. Now, you may be thinking, how does this apply to me? This only applies to adults, right? I'm not married. I don't have to worry about this. Now, I wouldn't blame you for thinking that now. Our modern culture treats relationships as casual, or disposable.
I think commitment is becoming as rare as temptations are just a click away. Adultery, as a sin being committed long before the actions, Jesus taught that it all starts with just a look, a fantasy. It's a battle of self-control, but one that's worth fighting to protect boundaries and real love. Love that's not hollow and fake.
You see, that's exactly the kind of point I was trying to make earlier. Because protecting one's integrity is just important. To choose right, even when no one's watching. And that's exactly what the seventh commandment wants us to realize.
But stealing isn't limited to just material goods, isn't it?
Of course not. To steal, as they put in the commandments, is to cheat, to lie, to waste people's time, to take away anything that's not yours for something wasteful. Now, to steal, as they put it in the commandments, is to cheat, to lie, to waste time, take away anything else that isn't yours from your neighbors, to take away something that isn't truly our own. Things of emotional importance, monetary value. It's not limited to just like a physical thing. There's a broader perspective that stealing can apply to. And stealing from our neighbors is exactly what this commandment wants us to fight against. But still, it's something that can become lost on us today, as some people wouldn't think to expand the definition of stealing past physical goods.
I like how you mentioned neighbor. Now, we see that word used in repetition in the last three commandments. Why is that?
Well, it's because they focus on something much more personal than the rest of them. You see, the commandments are no longer about avoiding a sin, but about protecting those in our life. Now, think about there's a difference here. Avoiding a sin. Don't steal, don't commit adultery, do not kill, don't hurt. Do not. These are all things that lead to sin, right? If we break them. But these last three, they can hurt people in greater ways that we wouldn't truly understand if it didn't happen to us or happen to someone that we loved.
So the word neighbor is meant to be personal. A reflection of the last commandments are our relationship with people.
Everyone, yes. Now think about how much hate, how much gossip, rumors, and misinformation is thrown online. Think about how much hate, gossip, rumors, and misinformation is just regurgitated online every single day to destroy people's reputations, to defame them, to rally people against them. It's a sad reality, but it's one that's unavoidable either way, as outlets for these acts exist everywhere, like YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat. But it doesn't mean that these things have to be used for bad, but still, it's still a pressing problem in our modern age. as people sort of lack this empathy or consideration hiding behind a screen.
But that doesn't mean the eighth commandment goes unheard. You shall not bear false witness. You shall protect the truth. Nobody says that social media can't be a beacon of truth too. We need truth. Truth protects people, protects love. Without truth, there can be no trust. Without trust, there is no faith.
You see, now that we're on the topic of truth, here's some lies that we often tell ourselves. And you know, while we're on the topic of finding truth, here's some lies we often tell ourselves. Think about it. If you've ever thought to yourself, if you or anybody else has ever thought to yourselves, I'll never be happy if I don't have the same cars, the same house, the same game. If I'm not as rich as this other person, if I don't have what they have, why don't I have what they have? Then it will slowly destroy us on the inside. And that's why we need to stop comparing and start living.
The core message of the 9th and 10th commandment is to resist the hollow desires of envy and jealousy. God warns us about these sins because they deny His peace, binding us to the blessings He's already given us.
Right, and you see that social media can make this battle even harder because constantly through many platforms like Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, we are seeing most of the time the best moments out of people's lives that they feel prepared to share with the world. But sometimes it makes us feel like we're missing out. But it's not about having everything. It's about trusting God and that He'll provide for us. What He gives us is enough. That He is enough.
So when we look at these last commandments, you notice something. We shouldn't just see rules. We should see a guide to becoming the kind of people who bring light to the world.
This is how we need to honor God. How we need to love others. And we live these commandments out, even imperfectly. We become living reflections of God's goodness, our own beacons of truth.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks so much for coming on to Christ Crusaders, Marcus.
Thank you for having me on this show today. I hope that through our talks, we can help inspire other young people to take a look back on their faith, and hopefully inspire and sort of change them to help them live their lives closer to how God intended.
All right, I really enjoyed this conversation with you. I really hope to see you back here next time. All right. Nice.
Good night, all of you. Good night.
Right. Good night.